The London system traps. d4, d5, bishop f4, knight f6, e3, c5, c3, e6, knight f3, knight c6, knight d2, bishop d6, bishop g3, short castle, bishop d3, queen e7, knight e5, knight d7, knight takes d7, bishop takes d7, bishop takes d6, queen takes d6, pawn takes c5, queen takes c5, bishop takes h7, check, king takes h7, queen h5, check, king g8, knight e4. If the pawn capture the knight, we will take his queen, so black will avoid. Queen e7, knight g5. The only way black can avoid checkmate is by forcing to capture the knight by the queen, but black is so stubborn to sacrifice. Rook e8, queen h7, check, king f8, queen h8, checkmate. The Mora gambit. e4, c5, d4, pawn takes d4, c3, pawn takes c3, knight takes c3, knight c6, knight f6, d6, bishop c4, knight f6, e5, pawn takes e5, queen takes d8, check, knight takes d8, knight b5, king d7, knight takes e5, check, king e8, knight c7, checkmate. The Blackmer gambit. d4, d5, e4, pawn takes e4, knight c3, knight f6, f3, pawn takes f3, queen takes f3, queen takes d4, bishop e3, queen b4, long castle, bishop g4, knight b5, e5, knight takes c7, check, king e7, queen takes b7, queen takes b7, bishop b5, checkmate. The Staunton gambit. d4, f5, e4, pawn takes e4, knight c3, knight f6, bishop g5, e6, knight takes e4, bishop e7, bishop takes f6, bishop takes f6, knight c3, b6, bishop d3, bishop b7, short castle, knight e5, knight c6, queen h5, queen e7, queen takes h7, king takes h7, knight takes f6, check, king h6, knight g4, check, king g5, f4, check, king h4, g3, check, king h3, knight f2, checkmate.
De Ponziani traps. e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, c3, knight f6, d4, knight takes e4. The black knight takes the e4 thinking it's free, but little does he know this is part of the Ponziani opening traps. d5, knight t7. Black knight is getting pushed inwards, just as white wants. Knight takes e5. d6, here a free pawn for white too. Bishop e5 check. c6. Black defends the check. Pawn takes c6. Pawn takes e5. Pawn for knight. Well, you'll see why. Pawn takes b7 check. Check and forking a bishop and rook, but this traps looks for the checkmate. Bishop b7. Pawn takes a8, promote to queen. To queens for white already, and black needs to make effort to stop this. Queen takes 8. Queen takes d7 checkmate. Now, checkmate for white, without black taking a8, a checkmate would came either way.